Darrow lived in a quiet riverside village called Lunanga, a place where the river sang softly all day, and the air often smelled of wet clay and burning firewood. In Lunanga, pottery was not just work. It was life. Nearly every home had a small kiln behind it, and every family had hands stained with clay, the way farmers have hands stained with soil. Darrow was in his early 20s, strong, energetic, and full of big dreams. He was not lazy. In fact, he worked harder than most young men in the village. He woke up early, carried clay from the riverbank, and shaped pots until his fingers ached. But inside him was a restless storm. He wanted success fast. He wanted people to notice him now, not later. He wanted to sell hundreds of pots in the next village, then the next town, then beyond the river. In his mind, he could already hear people saying, "Darrow is the best potter in Lunanga." His father, Mzee Sande, had once been the most respected potter in the village. When Darrow was younger, he used to sit beside his father and watch him work. His father's hands moved slowly, gently, as if the clay was a living thing that needed respect. He would press, turn, smooth, and wait. He never rushed. He treated every pot like a promise. But Darrow had grown up in a different time. He saw traders passing through the village with fast donkeys, loud voices, and quick deals. He heard stories about young men in towns who became rich quickly. And he began to believe that waiting was for weak people. "One day, I will be bigger than this village," Darrow told himself. "I just need to work harder and faster." At first, everyone admired his energy. "Darrow is serious," the neighbors said. "He will go far." But his seriousness soon became something else, something sharp and impatient. Darrow began to rush every part of the pottery process. He would pull clay from the river, but instead of kneading it slowly and removing small stones, he would press it quickly and start shaping. He would spin the wheel fast, using force instead of calm control. The pots would rise quickly, tall and beautiful for a moment, like a house built in one day without checking the foundation. When his father saw this, he spoke gently. "My son," Mzee Sande said, "clay listens only to time." Darrow laughed softly, not disrespectfully, but confidently. "Father, that is old thinking," he replied. "Today, speed wins." His father did not argue, he only watched. The first time Darrow fired his rushed pots, he was excited. He placed them in the kiln like a man placing coins in a box, already counting profit. He added firewood, blew air into the flames, and waited impatiently outside. When he finally opened the kiln, his excitement froze. 2 pots had cracked from the bottom. One had split on the side. Another looked fine but made a weak sound when tapped, meaning it could break any time. Darrow's face tightened. "It's okay," he muttered. "It happens. I'll make more." And he did. But he kept rushing. He shaped pots too quickly, then placed them in the sun for only a short time, even when the air was still wet and heavy. He did not allow the clay to dry properly. He just wanted to move to the next step, like a man running downhill without seeing the stones ahead. Soon, the failures repeated. Pots cracked during drying. Pots exploded in the kiln. Pots came out looking ugly, bent, or weak. Each failure made Darrow more angry. But instead of slowing down, he pushed himself harder, believing that more effort would fix everything. One evening, his father found him sitting outside the workshop, staring at broken pots. "You look tired," Mzee Sande said. "I am tired," Darrow answered quickly. "I work and work, but nothing stays right." His father sat beside him and picked up a broken piece of pottery. He rubbed the edge and nodded slowly. "You are fighting the process," he said. "A pot is not made by force. It is made by care." Darrow shook his head. "No, father," he said. "People want many pots. The market is big. If I make only a few, I will stay poor." His father looked at him kindly. "A pot that breaks is not a pot," he said. "It is just clay that wasted your time." Darrow did not respond. Deep inside, he felt his father's words, but his pride fought back. He still believed the problem was not rushing. He believed the problem was that the world was unfair. Then came the announcement that changed everything. One morning, a village messenger beat a drum in the center of Lunanga. People gathered quickly. "The harvest festival is near," the messenger shouted. "And there will be the annual craft competition. The best pottery will win a prize and be shown to merchants from the great trade market." The crowd cheered. Darrow's heart jumped. This was it. This was the chance he had been waiting for. If he won, his name would travel beyond Lunanga. Merchants might buy his pots. He might get a place in the trade market. People would finally respect him. That same day, Darrow worked like a man chasing a bus that was about to leave. He collected more clay than usual. He shaped pot after pot. He made dozens: water jars, cooking pots, flower vases, small cups. His hands moved fast, his eyes focused, his mind shouting, "More! More! More!" His father watched quietly from a distance. "Father," Darrow said later, sweating, "I will win this year. You will see." Mezi Sand only nodded. But that night, Darrow did the same mistake again. He rushed the drying. Some pots were still cool and damp, but he placed them into the kiln anyway. He wanted everything ready before the festival. He wanted quantity. He wanted speed. He wanted to prove himself. As the fire burned, Darrow sat outside the kiln, imagining people clapping for him. He imagined the judges holding his pots and nodding with respect. He imagined the prize in his hands. But when morning came and he opened the kiln, his dream collapsed. Cracks ran across the pots like ugly scars. Some were split into pieces. Others had shattered completely. Darrow's knees weakened. His throat became dry. He stared at the ruined work in silence. Outside, the village was already buzzing about the festival. And soon, whispers began to spread. Darrow rushed again. He made many pots, but look, they did not survive. He has energy, yes, but no patience. Darrow felt shame rise in him like hot smoke. He wanted to disappear. And while he sat there surrounded by broken pottery, he heard something that cut him even deeper. Laughter and cheerful voices from the market road. He looked up and saw his father walking calmly with a small basket. Inside were only a few simple pots, plain, not many, but smooth and strong. People stopped him and admired the work. "How long did these take you?" someone asked. His father smiled and answered softly, "As long as they needed." Darrow watched from a distance, and for the first time, he did not feel jealous. He felt empty, because deep down, he knew the truth was standing right in front of him. Quiet, steady, and undeniable. That night, Darrow did not sleep. The moon hung low over Lunanga, pale and quiet, while the river whispered the same song it had sung for generations. Inside his workshop, broken pots lay scattered like fallen soldiers. Darrow sat among them, his back against the wall, his hands covered in dry clay and ash. For the first time in many months, he did not feel angry. He felt tired in a different way, tired in his spirit. He remembered every moment his father had spoken calmly, while he rushed past the words. He remembered how often he had ignored advice, thinking speed was strength. Now, surrounded by failure, Darrow finally understood something painful but clear. He had been chasing results, not learning the craft. Slowly he stood up. He did something unexpected. He picked up every broken pot and stacked them neatly outside the workshop. He did not hide them. He did not throw them into the river. He looked at them honestly, as lessons, not enemies. Then he cleaned his wheel. The next morning, when the village woke to the sound of roosters and river birds, Darrow did something that surprised everyone. He carried only one lump of clay into his workshop. Just one. Villagers passing by stopped and whispered, "Only one pot? Has he given up? Maybe the failure broke him." Darrow heard the whispers. but they no longer controlled him. He placed the clay on the wheel and sat quietly for a long time before touching it. He closed his eyes and remembered how his father used to work. Not fast, not slow, but present. He pressed the clay gently. It wobbled. He stopped. He adjusted his hands. He breathed. He tried again. The pot did not rise quickly. It took time. Darrow resisted the old urge to force it. When his hands felt tired, he stopped. When the clay felt unstable, he slowed down. For the first time, Darrow was not fighting the clay. He was listening. When the pot was shaped, he did not rush it into the sun. He placed it in the shade, covered lightly with cloth, and walked away, even though every part of him wanted to check it again and again. Hours passed, then a full day, then another. The pot dried slowly, evenly, without cracking. When Darrow finally fired it, he waited patiently for the kiln to cool completely before opening it. His heart beat fast, but his hands were steady. The pot came out strong, smooth, balanced. Darrow touched it gently, almost afraid it would disappear. It did not. That day, he made no second pot. And the next day, he did the same. One pot, one process, one full cycle. Days turned into weeks. People continued to mock him. Darrow has become lazy, they said. He works like an old man now. He will never compete again. But Darrow no longer felt shame. Something inside him had changed. For the first time, his work felt peaceful. He no longer went to bed angry or woke up anxious. Each pot felt like a conversation, not a battle. His father noticed. One evening, Mrs. Sande stood quietly at the door of the workshop, watching Darrow smooth the rim of a pot. "You have learned to wait," his father said. Darrow looked up and nodded. "I finally understand," he replied. "Patience is not slowing down. It is choosing control." His father smiled. As the next harvest festival approached, Darrow did not rush. He did not count how many pots he made. He counted how carefully he made them. He selected only a few, simple in shape, honest in design, strong in body. When the festival day arrived, Darrow carried his work calmly to the display area. He placed his pots beside his father's, not to compete with him, but to stand with him. Judges walked by slowly, lifting pots, tapping them gently, feeling their weight. One judge stopped at Darrow's work. "These are not many," he said. Darrow nodded. "They took time." Another judge asked, "How long did they take to make?" Darrow answered honestly, "Longer than I wanted, but exactly as long as they needed." The judges exchanged looks. When the results were announced, Darrow did not expect anything. He stood quietly, his hands behind his back. Then his name was called, not for speed, not for quantity, but for craftsmanship. The prize was small, a silver coin and a certificate. But Darrow's heart felt full. Not because he won, but because the work finally spoke for itself. After the festival, Darrow's life changed quietly. He did not become rich overnight. He did not flood the market with pots. Instead, people came to him when their pots broke. He repaired them carefully. Traders returned because his work lasted. Slowly, his name traveled, not as the fastest potter, but as the most reliable. And inside, Darrow felt something he had never felt before: peace. His father watched him one evening and said softly, "You built more than pottery." Darrow smiled. "I built myself." Final reflection. Patience is not doing nothing. It is showing up daily, working quietly, and trusting the process. Like clay, like seeds,